No one can discover you until you do. Exploit your talents, skills, and strengths, and make the world sit up and take notice. Rob Liano.
You're listening to Writing Roots, brought to you by Aspen House Publishing.
Welcome to Writing Roots. I'm Lee Hull.
And I'm Lee Esses. And today we're talking about one of my least favorite parts of being an author, and that is the author bio.
This is the time where you have to take a look at your life and decide what you want to tell people, and be fun about it.
So if you're looking for more information, I highly recommend kindlepreneur.com has an article on writing an author bio. A lot of our information we are talking about today comes from that. It's a good resource to expand your knowledge on this particular base.
So you have to get into the right kind of frame of mind in order to do this. An author bio really is a marketing tool because you want to market yourself, not the book. You want people to become a fan of you, not just the book in their hands.
One of the things to get your mindset right before even approaching this is that your accomplishments help them know about your book. This is a way to let them know if they are your target audience.
A lot of the times people will read the author bio if they read your book and really liked it, so they want to find more books by you. So including the other titles that you've written, including links to websites or social media, can be very helpful in directing them towards the other things you have to offer.
I would say 98% of the purpose for awards is to put them in your author bio. Best case scenario, they recognize the award. If they don't recognize this platform, they read that you have this award, this title, and go, oh, someone important somewhere said that this person knows what they're doing. So as much as it sucks to go, yes, I'm fantastic, I'm perfect, and these people love me, it's important to have in your author bio.
But while you have all of these tools, all of these awards or prior experience and history, you need to be careful that you're presenting it in an informational kind of way and not in a self-aggrandizing and look at me, I'm so important kind of way.
Remember, as you're writing the bio, to include why you were the best person to write this book. So I have a fair amount of martial arts expertise. I tend to include that in my author bio because that communicates directly to my target audience, and it shows that I know what I'm talking about when they're swinging a sword or punching somebody.
The book that I've been mentioning quite a bit lately, Malice and the whole Faithful and Fallen series, the author includes the fact that he does historical reenactment to help influence his fighting techniques, his writing on the sword fighting that has a lot of presence in his books.
If you have some sort of certification or degree in something that's relevant to your story, also include that. If you have been to outer space and you're writing a sci-fi, yes, include that.
And even if it is something just fun, if it is a hobby of yours that relates to the book. I recently had my author bio rewritten to include the fact that, yes, I sew for cosplay and I'm a video gamer as well. And that is why I am informed enough to write a book about a gaming cosplayer.
One of the things to keep in mind as you're writing this author bio is giving them a reason to like you.
I think a great example of this is that there is a doctor's office in our area who on their website has pictures of dogs instead of headshots of the people as they're listing all of the physicians and physician assistants and nursing assistants that they have. It's just pictures of dogs, and I love it, and I so desperately want to go to that doctor's office because I know they're dog people.
Included in this is the types of themes that you like to write about. So be thinking about the things that you write about that makes your writing fun and appealing and selfish in yours. This is the time to spell that out and include it. I like to write about characters who don't think they're the main character, and also like to write about that struggle of duty versus freedom. That's a very interesting struggle for me, and it's one that is rampant throughout a lot of my stories.
So if you can find a way to communicate that in a very natural way, it can help the readers understand what to expect from your style, from your writing. And if that's something they'll align with, then they're going to look and seek out more books by you, and they'll become a fan of you as an author rather than just this one book that they read.
So now that your mind is in the right place, you have these ideas of things you want to include in your author bio. Now we're getting to the more technical part.
Your author bio needs to be short. You don't need to go into a full biography of your life. Keep it down to 60 to 90 words.
The first thing you're going to include in your author bio, shocker, is going to be your name.
It's so weird, but people do need to know who you are.
The first thing they see should be your name. The first thing that contextualizes the rest, you. The next thing that you're often going to see in this recipe are those relevant accomplishments.
This is also where you'll include those awards. In one author biography I read, it was Adeline Grace, New York Times bestselling author. It was just right there immediately. Yes, that is a relevant accomplishment to the book, to her author career.
The next part is kind of the most fun, but also where people tend to overdo it. And that is a note about your style. If you write humorous fiction, make sure that that next sentence or the rest of that first sentence is humorous. If you write dramatic or romantic, your style, not necessarily your genre, but your style should be reflected in your bio in half a sentence to a sentence.
I do want to make another quick note about relevant accomplishments. If you don't have any, which is very common if you're new, you can explain just a little bit more about yourself, maybe where you live or where you grew up, something that can make it personable and relatable for the readers. And then yes, go into your style, and then you always want to have some call to action, some mention of another book that you wrote, or maybe where they can find you, where they can follow you.
The last thing that you mention in this bio is this call to action. Because if you do it sooner, then best case scenario, they don't read the rest of it and they just go and do the thing that you're calling them to do, which is still not optimum because you want them to read and to invest in you. The call to action is your chance to send them off to do something else. So make sure that call to action is last.
You also want to include a picture whenever possible, because this lets them put a face to the name. It lets them relate to you as a person and see you as a real human being rather than just some robot who typed out some words and made a cool book. As you are creating the author bio, you really do need to take a look at your word choice. And it needs to represent you as the author and what the readers can expect from your books. So like we said earlier with making sure there's some note about your style, the word choice needs to set a mood, whether it's going to be an irreverent or charming story, or whether it's going to be something humorous or whatever. It's you.
If you feel like your author bio isn't communicating the mood, look at those adjectives, because award-winning says something, but irreverent tells me more.
And also take a look at the nouns that you're using and how they are relevant to your story and relevant to you. Maybe you are a copywriter or a mother or an astronaut. For us, we're podcasters and writers. I'm a cosplayer and a gamer. These are nouns that I can include in my author bio to give a representation of who I am.
So instead of saying the author who has been to outer space, you just say astronaut, because we already know you're an author. Including those titles, especially as nouns in your author bio, can help you condense and communicate a lot of information comfortably and quickly.
So I recently had my author bio rewritten to better represent. I'm not great at writing anything about myself, really, so I had someone else do it. And this is what was created for me. And it's a little out of order to what we said in this episode, but it hits a lot of those main points. Lee Hull was raised in Hermiston, Oregon, but now resides in sunny Northern California. When she was a child, she was sure living with entire worlds inside your head was entirely normal. As she got older, she realized she should be writing them down. Prior to her writing career, Lee worked as an emergency dispatcher and a news producer, both fast-paced jobs that she now draws on to write nail-biting suspense into her novels. Just like her characters, Lee loves gaming and the highly imaginative alternate realities they offer. She is the host of Writing Roots Podcast, a show that helps authors put their creativity first and get their stories onto paper.
So this is a little bit longer than you'll often see on a website. You'll more often see this type of content in a book jacket.
And that is exactly where this author bio is going, is in my book jacket.
But you get a clear idea of who Lee Hull is, of her accomplishments, and of her writing style, and of her interests. Oftentimes you'll see the where they are and where they came from in the author bio. This makes it personable, especially if you don't have a lot of other things that you definitely need to include as far as titles and that kind of thing. Small town girl kind of feel makes her writing very cozy. So as uncomfortable as it is to write your author bio, it is incredibly important to access this in yourself, to communicate to your audience that you are a human being, that you are relatable, that you are someone whose career they want to follow, someone whose other books you also want to read, because there is a big difference between having readers and fans. And you want them to be fans of you, not just your book. So even if it feels like you're patting yourself on the back when you're approaching your author bio,
write selfishly.
If you have a question or comment for our hosts or a topic you'd like us to cover, send us an email at writingroots@aspenhousepublishing.com or find us on Facebook by searching for Aspen House Publishing.